Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. This is the show we talk about sports with comedians. Let's bring in my man, Talent. First up, T, what's going on, T? How you doing, sir?
Salute, King. Everything is good over here. It's just comedy, baby.
Woo! I just saw some breaking news. Can't wait to jump into this in a second. My man Fig's in the building too. Fig, what's happening, bro?
Hey man, ain't nothing going on with the rent unless you own a house.
Yeah, it's one of those days. I was gonna start with this next story, like third or fourth, but since it's breaking news, man, I'm gonna start with this first. It just broke while we was coming on the air. I saw actually the news list just came up. Here's the story. The story was that Ime Udoka is facing disciplinary action. Ime Udoka is the coach of the Boston Celtics. Something happened with him. He got into a relationship with a member of the Boston Celtics staff, Talent, and news is breaking right now that he might be suspended for an entire year. And assistant coach Joe Mazzulla is going to take over for the whole year. I'm gonna ask you this, T. He's not married. The staff is not married. Should this be a disciplinary action? Because some people are saying on Twitter that one thing has nothing to do with the other. Granted, he is in a relationship with Nia Long. For those of you who don't know, Nia Long is the actor and everything else. He is in a relationship with her, but he's not married to her. They've been together for almost 20 years, 15 years to be exact. And they're not married. So that does come on the line of borderlining on staff issues. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, I'm still thinking about it. I'm still processing this, T. What's your take on this, bro?
Well, I think it's kind of a big lump of BS because once adults have a consenting relationship, I don't care to what extent the relationship is. Once the two adults are consenting, I think everybody else got to kind of like step back and mind your own business. Like, if nobody's saying, "Oh, this was inappropriate," or they harassing me, or whatever the case may be, I think you're out of line by jumping in somebody's business when it's consensual between adults like that. Granted, people have different workplace policies on top of that, but I think ultimately the people that's bringing these charges up, that's getting mad and calling for his head, are big fans of Nia Long. That's all of it. They're big fans of Nia Long. They've seen every movie. And now they mad because how many posts and memes I've seen already in less than a full 24-hour span of, man, you got Nia Long and you did that. Nia, come over here, baby. A bunch of that, right? A bunch of that. So this is a Nia Long fan base thing that's pushing the issue because the brother's a good coach. The brother's doing his job. If you have feelings develop between somebody else that happen to work there, if it's not violating that conduct code, I say leave it alone. I say leave suspension for years. It's drastic.
Do you think it'll affect the Celtics run for the NBA Finals?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think he's connected with those players and got them playing at a certain level. They respect him. He's young enough for them to respect him, but yet old enough for them to get out there and execute the plays that he's been calling. He's doing a wonderful job. We all know that. And when you disrupt a position like a head coach, that changes everything.
Yeah. I can't disagree with you more. I mean, I can't agree with you more. Fig, what's your take on this, bro? Do you think the Celtics should have stepped in? Or you think the NBA policy? Because it's not even the NBA; it's the Boston Celtics themselves who are stepping in and putting down their policy, saying he basically broke their policy on that. Do you think that there's a problem with that? What's your take?
It's sabotage, man. That's what I think it is. I think it's sabotage. Like every company has that same thing. Every company pretty much has the same policy, no fraternization. But here's the catch-22. Most people meet their significant other at work. So I'm just like, I ain't having no fraternization policy, and most people meet their significant other at work. I'm like, something's wrong. Now, I understand that if he's hired at her, he put pressure on her to do something she didn't want to do, or with some kind of harassment. That would be a different story. But she's attracted to him. He's attracted to her. And we really don't know what Ime Udoka's relationship is with Neil Long. They was out on a couple dates. They ain't married. They ain't engaged. They both free. They free
No,
adults.
the only thing is they have kids together. That's the only thing. They've been together 15 years. They have kids together. So
Yeah, I get it, man. But still, at the end of the day, marriage is marriage. You know what I mean? Unless you actually married, technically, you're still single. There's plenty of people that got children by other, like men and women have children by other people, but they ain't with those people. So that ain't no. And then like to suspend a man for a year, like Frank, like since when does having a relationship with somebody that you work with a crime? Like what? Where does the punishment don't fit it? You understand what I'm saying? Like the punishment is, it just seems excessive. It's a look, all right, look, we gonna fine you or you're suspended for a month or something. An entire season. Yo, man, I know you got to be pissed off because this is like this. The Celtics was in the championship last year. They was in the finals. They were there, and then you're gonna suspend the coach for a year. Oh man, I don't like that at all, man.
Okay,
if I was a Celtics fan, I'd be climbing the ceiling.
let me ask you this: do you think it's going to affect the Celtics in their run for the championship this year by replacing Ime Udoka?
Absolutely, because it's chemistry. You know that's the one thing that when teams have the chemistry on the court, and then they have a relationship with the coaching staff, and everything is firing on all cylinders. That is paramount. That is important. You've never had friction between coaches and players, and then they won a championship. That doesn't happen. This relationship is paramount. It's very important to the health of the team itself. It really is. And they wasn't doing well before Udoka got there. The same team. They wasn't doing well before he got there. He came there, put in a new culture, kind of got those guys like Tatum and Brown playing together on the same page. You know what I mean? Moving, propelling the Celtics forward. And that's all because of the coach. Now you're going to suspend him for a year? I don't get that.
Talent. Let me be the devil's advocate here. All right. Ime Udoka came in last season. The Celtics really didn't start playing really good basketball into January. You know what I mean? They really didn't start buckling down to January. People were saying, and people are saying, now again, I'm being devil's advocate because I don't want you to think that I'm for this at all because I'm not. I'm completely upset. But the devil's advocate part of this is saying his assistant coaches and Ime Udoka finally got them all on board at the end of January. Because I put a post in the beginning of January last year, which I just recently saw, is that I wanted them to fire Ime Udoka because I hated his substitution patterns. I hated the way he was coaching at the time. They ended up picking it up, changed everything up, and ran straight through to the NBA Finals. But the credit, some of the credit people are saying goes to his assistant coaches. Do you think, of course, I'm just not saying I agree with this, but do you think the assistant coaches could help pick up the slack and help get them to the final since he's not there being devil's advocate? Is that a possibility?
I mean, anything's possible. None of us can definitively sit here and go boom, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Anything's possible. Just like you said, you know, one day it wasn't doing good, and in January picked it up, it's clicking on all cylinders. I think I've seen it before. We've seen it in the history of the NBA where assistant coaches have to pick up the slack, and the team still is good. They zero in, they hone in on what they got to do, and they do it. I wouldn't bet on it, is what I'm saying. I'm a betting man, and I wouldn't bet on it, but anything is possible.
Okay, all right. Fig, the Celtics were 11 games out by January 4th or 5th, maybe 7th or 8th. They were 11 games, not 11 games out. They were in 11th place last year, trying to make a run for the NBA Finals. The Chicago Bulls were, and at that time, the Chicago Bulls were the number one seed. The Celtics weren't even looking at the number one seed. The assistant coaches and Ime Udoka got together and they made a run. Do you think it's possible that the assistant coaches of the Celtics could get together and rally together and get them to be, get them to make a run again this year? Do you think it's possible without Ime Udoka?
I'll say this, Frank. What I think it really is going to depend on is how close the players are to the head coach, because it just seems like, you know, people they think you could just plug and play. That change was an entire culture thing. You know what I mean? And when you implement a new system and you change the culture of your team, it takes a while for that chemistry to build. Taking away your head guy, I mean, I've seen assistant coaches do well for a while, but I've never seen it for an entire season. I've never seen anything like this before. And listen, you know, I'm an avid basketball fan. I was literally a basketball fan when the Knicks won their championship. So you can tell how long I've been, you know, a fan of the NBA. I've never seen anything like this before, and I really think it can hurt the Celtics' chances, because if you suspend this guy for a year, what you're saying is that he's going to be away from the team.
Right.
If you would have fired him, that would have been different.
Mike LaShawn has joined the show. Mike, what's up, man? How you doing, sir?
What's up? Explain to me what happened, because this is something I'm just hearing.
The news just broke at 12 o'clock that it looks like Ime Udoka, coach of the Boston Celtics, who has had a consensual relationship with the Boston Celtics staffer, is going to possibly be suspended for a year. We are debating right now whether or not the Celtics as an organization should be involved, because one, Ime Udoka, even though he had a relationship with Nia Long, is not married. You know what I mean? And the Celtics staffer, according to what I've been reading, is not married. So you have two consensual adults who have a relationship. They got caught having a relationship. And should Ime Udoka be suspended for a year? Will the Celtics make it without Ime Udoka? What are their chances are if an assistant coach who basically helped them get to, you know, because again, like I said to Fig just now before you got on the air, the Celtics were in 11th seeded. They were seeded 11th in the playoff run last year, 11th place last year by middle of January. So those are all the hot topics we're discussing. Give me your hot thoughts, Mike.
Welcome to 2022, where we can watch a show about the Lakers and Jerry Buss and everything, the shenanigans that he did and everything that Magic did and things that were going on within the same organization. But now if two consensual adults happen to take part in something together, you're going to suspend him for what? Like, exactly what are you suspending him for? You can't suspend him for cheating on his girlfriend. Like, that means every comedian would be suspended for life.
It's not me.
not big. But the rest of us would be suspended from getting on stage. Like, this moral thing is hilarious. So you're going to let dudes be able to get DUIs, and you're going to let dudes be able to get clear domestic violence charges, and they can play. But if he happens to have some consensual activity with a fellow worker, you're going to suspend them for a year? That don't sound crazy. Well, like, there's something deeper. There's something under this. There's something inside this story that we don't know about. There's somebody. There's somebody pissed off. Go ahead, Talon. Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you what it is, Mike. What it is the person in charge of the suspension. The girl said no to him.
Exactly.
Yes.
The guy walked by the cubicle. Say, hey, it's doing Friday. She said, not you. And then Friday, at 5 o'clock, everybody's clocking out, and she's seen him leaving with the head coach. And okay, all right. And they pulled up that little ass fine print and that code of conduct, corporate code of conduct, pointed to it, highlighted it, and said, aha, he's in violation. And now we're making a bigger deal over something non-trivial. We're adults, people. This is the problem. And ladies, bear with me on this, but this is my problem with the whole hashtag Me Too thing and the whole sexual harassment at the workplace and all this thing. It's subjectable. It's only a problem if you don't like the guy coming on to you. If you're attracted and like the guy coming on to you, we never read about these stories. We never hear about it. They go to the after work functions. They go to the mixers. They do God knows what. Get a room. Go to my house. I'm single. You single. However it's done, you never hear about it. But God forbid, busted face mailroom Larry says good morning. Now that's a violation. I'm going to HR. I don't feel comfortable. Every morning, Larry saying good morning.
So it was okay. Let me get this straight. It was okay when Phil Jackson was banging out the owner of the Lakers. That was okay. That was cool.
Jeannie Buss.
Jeannie Buss, it was
He was
okay.
busting Jeannie Buss up.
Now I will say this as and I'm Puerto Rican, so I want to make sure I make this clear. I'm Puerto Rican, but as a black man in the NBA in a head coaching position, you're dumb as hell to smash somebody in the organization because you already know that you're held to a different standard. So you already do know you're held to a different standard. So are you
black?
Yeah, but you're a stupid dummy for knocking off a staffer like you one of the players. But it's not fair. But it's not fair on how Phil Jackson can literally publicly be knocking off Jenny Buss and everybody's all good with it. And then you find out that this dude hits off a staff, a person, and unless it wasn't consensual, unless you're going to tell me he was harassing her.
Right.
If you're telling me, like Talon said, it was consensual, then why do we even care? And why is the NBA union not stepping up and say, whose business is it for us? But I will repeat, he is a stupid dummy for knocking off somebody, for being in that situation.
But I've had myself. In all three of you guys' defense, him, the coach, Michael Sean, and Fig, he's light-skinned.
Shut up. He is not. Hey, listen.
If he was dark-skinned, he would have went to that short stay. I guarantee.
Yo, you stupid. Hey, you know what this is, Frank? This is a slippery slope because right now it seems as though the NBA or the Celtics. I don't know if this. I don't know if this is with all teams, but the Celtics really what they're doing is they're trying to legislate morality.
Yes. Exactly.
That's slippery.
Yeah.
That's a slippery slope right there. You go down. Yep. You go down this road. A lot of people got a lot of questions. Listen, I watch sports all day. I was watching Stephen A. Smith this morning. He said he knows for a fact, 100% uncontroverted, that there are other people in the Celtics organization that have relationships with people that they work with. He knows for a fact. He says, so why are you picking on this guy?
Of course.
No surprise. All right, let's keep it moving. In other NBA news, man, see, Ramona Shelburne from ESPN said that the Phoenix Suns is up, obviously, to be purchased, and the buyers potentially could be Jeff Bezos from Amazon CEO, Jeff Bezos, former Disney CEO Bob Iger, ex-Oracle CEO Larry Ellison, and Washington Wizards minority owner Maureen Jobs, who is the widow of Apple CEO Steve Jobs. They all are expected to throw their hat in the ring to purchase the Phoenix Suns because of what's going on with the Robert Sarver situation. Are you liking the names you're hearing, T, or are you noticing something that I'm noticing about none of them being minorities? Like there aren't any black minority billionaires in the.
Well, you know, there's a couple of billionaires out there, but they're probably not interested. You know, they're still figuring out OPM, using other people's money and getting little groups together. That's the best way to make. To me, the best way is to get a group together so you can have, you know, not just one solid owner, but a group. The Jobs widow. The ex-wife of Steve Jobs. That's the only name I like because you know right away if she buys a team, everybody gets a free iPhone.
An iPhone 25.
And it's the Phoenix Suns, so they get the new iPhone. It ain't even out yet. Come with a little air conditioning. It's gaming. Nice.
Big, that you heard the names of everybody, you know, who's potentially throwing their hat in there. Any names stand out to you and anything shocking to you? What's your thoughts?
No, look, they're all you know, extremely wealthy. But listen, Jeff Bezos got a lot of pesos, and he got Amazon, and that means free deliveries for
everybody. That's all we worried about. Everybody.
Yo, Amazon is big time, man, and yo, the team is valuable right now. listen, they were right there. This is another team that's extremely valuable because they were right there contending for a championship and they haven't lost anything. You know what I mean? They still have the same players. They still have the same coach. You know what I mean? Their culture seems to be strong. They rehired or re-signed DeAndre Ayton. So their team is formidable. This is probably the best time. If you're going to sell something, you want to sell it when it's at its height. This is probably the best time for him to sell this team because it's probably extremely valuable right now because they're contenders.
Yeah, I agree with that part. Michael Sean, of the names, the buyers you hear, anything surprise you? Any thoughts on the potential buyers?
So everybody you said is white, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's my problem. Once again, in a league that has been driven by African Americans, every owner that could buy the Phoenix, you really gonna tell me there's no potential owners that could be of color at any point? So they gonna gather up a bunch of white people so they can go pay a bunch of black people and run them. Like nobody sees the problem in this. Like this is what I'm talking about. This does not happen in the NHL. This doesn't happen. They ain't a bunch of black coaches in the NHL. They ain't a bunch of black owners in the NHL running white people.
Right.
But you're gonna tell me there's not one person, there's not one group that could be put together to actually buy the NBA? Of course they could. You're gonna really tell me you're not gonna call Magic and say, Magic, do you want to put a group together to own the Phoenix Suns? He may say no because he's a Laker, or he may say, you know what? Yes. You're gonna tell me that there's nobody. Like, the hypocrisy is so thick in this, man. It's so truly American. Let's just get some more white people to run people. And I'm sorry, y'all. I know I sound like
no. You got a great point, Mike. You know what? That brings up another point too, which we've seen done in business, where because the heat's on me, I do, and for lack of a better term, for layman's term, tell it to them like they do. Basically, a fake sale.
Mm-hmm.
I can bring up some names and solicit this thing. Okay, I'm putting it up for sale. Bring in names and people come in and kind of dummy represent. I'm still the guy behind the chains. I'm still pulling all the chains. You know what I mean? But to the outside world, the facade is I sold it.
Like we were so happy, right? We got all giddy that Donald Sterling lost his team. Why?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So another white dude could own it.
Right.
Like I still don't think I still don't think Donald Sterling should have even lost the team. If you're gonna be like, oh, we're so mad that this guy called these black people this, and then be like, let's give it to another white guy. How that sound?
Yo, I want to nominate. Listen, I think that we need to nominate Bob Johnson and Byron Allen to get together and buy the Phoenix Suns.
They sit right there. They sit right big. They in real talk. They sit right there.
And they want to. Let's keep it moving. Because since we talk about the NBA, I gave you guys a quick question right there, and I want to talk about LeBron James in just a second. But before we talk about LeBron James, I wanted to know who your top 10 NBA players are, and I want to see if LeBron James was in your top 5 or your top 10. So let's give me your list of your top 10 NBA players as of last season.
Let me give you. Let me give you Mike Sean's list first. The first 9 is LeBron and Chris Paul's number 10. That's Mike's list. But let me
thank you for doing that work for me. Thank you.
I cannot. Playing in the game right now, LeBron absolutely has to be in the top 10. The top of the charts right now: Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Kawhi, Damian Lillard, LeBron, Kyrie, Giannis, John Morant, Donovan Mitchell, and I gotta squeak in that 10 with Chris Paul for it.
So where did LeBron fall in your list?
6.
6. Okay, so LeBron's not in your top 5.
You want me to put him in it?
No, I'm asking. I'm just saying. LeBron's
I didn't know I failed the test.
You get a free iPhone if you do. You know.
LeBron's not in your top 5. Just make sure you're clear.
Listen, you know what? On the technicality, I will put him in the top 5 because Kawhi missed all those games last season.
Okay. All right,
So I would take Kawhi out of 3. That 3-4 bracket, put LeBron there, drop Kawhi to the 5.
All right, Fig, give me your top 10 as of last season or while they played last season. Give me your top 10, and I want to see where LeBron's at in your top 10. Go ahead.
I go with I didn't have these. I didn't realize you wanted them in order, Frank. But I got Kevin Durant, LeBron, Giannis, Curry, Kawhi, Joel Embiid, the Joker. I got Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, and Kyrie Irving. Now, if you want me to put, if I put them in order,
you don't have to put them in order. I just want to know: is LeBron James in your top 5?
You know what? Out of all these guys, and this is my only reasoning, because his team didn't make the playoffs, I can't put him in my top 5. Because everybody else, with the exception of Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James, everybody else was at least in the playoffs. Not the play-in, the playoffs.
Okay, all right. Let me see Michael Sean's list. Michael Sean, what is your list of your top 10 NBA players?
First of all, that argument that LeBron didn't make the play-in or didn't make the playoffs, guess what? When Steph Curry didn't make the playoffs, he was still in the top 10. When he didn't make the playoffs, he was still a top 10 player. Bottom line. And if we did this list, we would all put Steph Curry in. Yes, I'm gonna put Giannis, LeBron, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Damian Lillard. Well, now I'm taking talents list. Lillard, I said Kawhi Leonard. I would actually add in Paul George in there also. Joel Embiid, I put him in there. And then oh God, because I got to pick one of the Celtic dudes. Jason Tatum. Shoot.
Danny Ainge.
Larry Bird, damn it.
You left out Steph Curry though.
I put Steph Curry. I'm sorry, Steph Curry and Jason Tatum, because I know I'm repeating everything, but LeBron is still, to me, LeBron right now, and this is what's crazy about LeBron, as much as people really want to front, is a top 3 player right now. If Anthony Davis plays the entire season, if Anthony Davis plays an entire season, which, listen, ifs and no ifs and ifs and ifs. If Anthony Davis plays an entire season, LeBron's in the playoffs. He's not in the play-in. He's in the playoffs. If Anthony Davis plays the entire season. And this dude is like in his 36,000th season.
No, here's something else that we need to take into consideration when we're doing this. If you're taking off several games, you know what I mean? You load managing during the season. Like, come on, dude. You nobody's ever won MVP taking off games. So you can't be top 3 and you taking off games for rest.
Yes,
I realize that you're formidable, that you're a formidable player, and that you're still playing at a high level. But if you can't play 82 games without injury, name the player that got MVP and load managed.
Let me tell you about y'all Jordan fans. Let's get into this.
We ain't talking about Jordan.
No, I'm gonna name a name. I'm naming Kawhi Leonard.
Not Jerry.
There's never gonna be an MVP who doesn't load manage. There's never going to be an MVP ever again, Fig.
No,
every
MVP
is going to load manage.
Who is the player? Just tell me the player.
The Joker load manage. He took games off. That's the answer. And Michael Jordan took 2 years off.
Whoa. Why you see, Mike, this is where me. This is where we got to wrap.
But the Joker, but before you say talent, you can come get me. But the Joker load managed this year. He took games off.
You're absolutely right. Nothing I'm about to say you're saying that you're wrong. My thing is, like, whenever you get into an argument with LeBron, don't go run to throw Jordan in it. Defend LeBron on his own merit. You just reached in a cloud and pulled Jordan ass out of nowhere.
Because
Jordan's not in this conversation.
he took a year off.
Yeah, but he's not in this conversation. He just gave you his little thing or whatever. You're absolutely right, whatever you said. Like, right now, we live in a time where that's what the new norm is. The new norm, if you're a superstar player and I'm your coach or your front office, I'm going to be looking to lessen your chances of injury and fatigue for the long haul. I get it.
Talent. Joker played. Listen. Joker played 72 games last year. 72.
Did he take games off? Did he take games off? Did he take games off?
Listen, it's an 82 game season.
So that means he took games off.
He played. You don't know why. We don't know if he was injured or not. He played 72. You talking about a player who plays 60-some games. He played 72.
All right, Frank, make your point, please.
Let's get ready. Let's keep this going. T, here's the next thing up for you, T. I want to ask you this. The Jazz last night ended up making a trade. They traded Bojan Bogdanovic to the Detroit Pistons, and the Jazz ended up getting Kelly Olynyk and guard Saban Lee in return. Danny Ainge is still imploding the team. Danny Ainge going to be this time next year. The question for you is going to be: will Danny Ainge be the executive of the year for all the moves he made, or will he look like he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs right now for trading away, because he traded away another one of his star players?
That remains to be seen. He's taking the gamble of all time. He believes he knows what he's doing, so it is no in between. He's going to be the laughing stock and kicked out of the town, or everybody's going to be trying to take a page out of his book. Like, what was you thinking? How'd you do this, that, the third? Secondly, stop sending people to Detroit. Detroit is one season away from playing outside the playground.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things I got to talk about. In fact, I got a different question for you, Fake. The Chicago Bulls guard, Lonzo Ball, is now going arthroscopic knee surgery on his left knee right now for the Chicago Bulls. Him going out at the middle of January, February last year, the Bulls ended up tanking, but the Bulls ended up now saying that he's got to go for another knee surgery. What's your take on now the Bulls' chances of being number one in the conference without Lonzo Ball? What's your take on this?
I think they'll be all right, because if I heard correctly, I think this procedure is pretty much what they call a cleanup. So he's not really expected to be out that long. If he could come back, you know what I mean, in the beginning of the season, and finish off with like the last, I'd say if he could get in 60 games out of the 82, like if he missed the first 20 games, 22 games or whatever and stuff like that, I think the Bulls will be okay.
Okay, all right. Mike Sean, the question for you is: Canada is reportedly getting ready to lift all the vaccine requirements for people entering the country, a move that would impact unvaccinated professional athletes, and we know who we're talking about, and we know which team we're talking about in particular. So should we expect the Brooklyn Nets to be much different now that Canada is lifting their mandate on being unvaccinated? What's your take?
You think that you're asking me if the Brooklyn Nets are going to be different now?
Yes, meaning that Kyrie Irving has no reason not to play. You know what I mean? And other players who go to play in Canada, they have no reasons not to play now. So you can play in Canada now.
No, it's not going to be different. It's still going to be passive-aggressive Kevin Durant, who's never going to be a leader on a team to be able to take it over and be like, this is what we're going to do. So, I mean, it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same story. Everybody's going to say, he's the greatest, one of the greatest shooters that we've ever seen. And he never has led a team that he had to lead. He's never, ever, ever in his life, when he was the lead and he had to take over and he had to be the person that led in the locker room, on the court, he's never done it. But we give him a pass. And I promise you, I'm going to bring this up so y'all can all get mad. I promise you, if LeBron did the same thing that Kevin Durant did, we'd be killing his ass right now. We'd be killing him. We'd be killing him right now. We'd be saying LeBron is the most lackluster leader in the history of the world. The only time he ever won is because he was with Dwayne Wade. Kevin Durant, the only time he ever won a championship that he could ever carry the weight is when he had Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, the rest of Golden State, and a great organization. Never.
Has anyone ever called Kevin Durant the GOAT?
Yes.
The greatest basketball player of all time. Has anybody ever called him that?
Yeah, they've called him the best player in the world multiple times on ESPN.
No. There's a difference. There's a difference.
But we're gonna keep the show going.
The greatest basketball player of all time. Has anybody ever called Kevin Durant the greatest basketball player of all time?
We don't want to get into debate with LeBron because we got other things we want to cover.
Then why you keep letting Mike pull LeBron James out his ass?
Look, on my little square fig, on my little square, when I get time to talk, I can bring anybody out that I want to bring out.
Every time it's like God does like an enema.
So bring a person out.
To him. Fig, you responded to him, and I was getting ready to move it on. You threw the question out. I'm throwing the question. Let's go. Let's go.
Jordan fans be sensitive as hell. Jordan fans be sensitive. Oh man, they be like baby skin. They all got baby skin. They don't want that smoke when it comes to talking about Jordan.
Down. Here we go. We're gonna keep it going. And Richard Sherman's podcast that came out yesterday. Richard Sherman said some stuff that some people consider blasphemy. He said in his podcast that Russell Wilson was given special treatment by Pete Carroll during his career and his reign while he was there. And Pete Carroll had a choice to keep the defense together or pay Russell Wilson all that money. It turns out Russell Wilson ended up getting like $155 million, for 4 or 5 years. He got a huge contract at the deal at the time, highest paid QB at the time. And Russell Wilson said, see, now look what happened now. Does that mean, are you thinking that he's telling the truth? What's your thoughts on this whole situation?
Well, first of all, I don't know if you guys heard the Queen died.
Yeah.
Queen of England.
Queen Latifah?
So that's first of all. Second of all, here's the thing. I believe it's the best stories you ever gonna get are the people who just left the game. Like, you know what I mean? So the guys who now have the podcast, like even the Matt Barnes and all those guys, and all those guys that played and had the inside, when they get out, anything that they got the slightest bit of animosity about, it's coming out in the wash. Absolutely, I believe it to be true. And what team doesn't have to face this same thing every signing year? Every year a contract comes up, a big one of your big, if not your top player, one of your top 2 or 3 players, and you have to make a decision like that. Am I going to pay this guy because he's the best receiver or the best running back or the best to keep him and keep doing things around that? Or am I going to take this squad, try to stall that out, and keep my defense together? Now, like I know, the team that he's talking about, the defense was probably the most important component for Seattle at that time. It was the Legion of Boom.
Right.
And because of that, when you made that decision, we did watch it crumble. We watched Sherman go to another team. We watched another couple of special teams guys and cornerbacks and safeties, all that get scrambled around. So he got validity to what he's saying. I think it's absolutely a true point that he was making.
Yeah, I have to agree with that part. Fig, do you think that what was said, do you think what was said by Richard Sherman was said about Russell Wilson, do you think it has any validity to it? Or do you think that Russell Wilson was not given any special treatment?
No, listen, I don't know a quarterback that's not given preferential treatment. 9 times out of 10 in the NFL, the quarterback is the leader of your team. So why wouldn't the leader of your team get preferential treatment? I mean, it happens in life everywhere. The star usually gets preferential treatment. They didn't like him from jump. Russell Wilson was not that kind of dude. He probably and God knows what most people say is he probably wasn't black enough. And they really didn't like him. They talk about him right now. He's not even on Seattle. And they talking about him right now. Now he's in Denver and they talking about him. They just don't like that type of black man for whatever reason. And it's ridiculous. These type of decisions, like Talon said, are made every year. You got to decide who you're going to pay and who you're not going to pay. Because unfortunately, the NFL has a salary cap. And you only can pay so many players. But guess what? The only sports that have a salary cap are the ones that are predominantly black people. Those are the only sports that have a salary cap.
Michael Sean, what's your take on this? Number one, and would you have kept the defense together, or would you have did like the Seattle Seahawks did and paid Russell Wilson? What's your take?
All right, Richard Sherman. You know, the thing about Richard Sherman is he's a great football player, but you're not a quarterback. You're not as dope as you thought you were. You're not Deion Sanders. You're not Revis Island or everything like that. So they want to come at, and I'm glad that Fig said it, that these guys keep coming at his neck simply because he wasn't part of the strip club crew. He wasn't part of the I'm going to hang out with y'all. And the Legion of Boom, yes, were they dope? Yes, they were dope. But he's the quarterback. Derek Jeter got treatment differently than any other Yankee while he was playing. He wasn't even the best player on the team, but he got treatment different. He got treated differently than everybody else. So yes, Richard Sherman, stop being mad because the quarterback of your team, who did lead you to a Super Bowl, even though I know your defense was dope, you still got to have a quarterback that leads you to the Super Bowl, and now you're gonna talk trash about him.
Yeah,
it's childish. It's childish.
All right,
Mike, he led him to 2. I mean, he did lose.
Oh, he led him to 2. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. He led him to 2.
All right. In other NFL news, we got a huge game coming this weekend. Buffalo versus Miami. I mean, a lot of people are saying that so far these are the best top 2 teams in the NFL. I'm not sure about that one, but I know Buffalo definitely is. I don't know if Miami is, but at the end of the day, the numbers are saying that Miami is one of the best teams in the league, along with Buffalo. What's your take on Buffalo versus Miami, and who you got, T?
It's going to be something similar to what we just witnessed. I got Buffalo. It's not going to be close. Watch that beginning. Like I talked about this a day ago. Watch that beginning of the game tenacity. Watch the approach of the field from coin to from kickoff. Watch. Buffalo's not playing. Mm-hmm. They're not playing. They give you maybe the last 3 minutes going into the half and the next 3 minutes coming out of the half. That's about your window to make something happen and stay close in the game. They're gonna kick that. I'll give somebody 10 points. They went out.
Oh, you give somebody a point? You give somebody a point?
I don't care about that, dude. That's gonna be a blowout.
All right. You think it's a blowout? Fake. In other news, the Packers are playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chris Godwin and Julio Jones didn't even practice today. They both saying they're dealing with some nagging injuries. Tom Brady doesn't have his tight ends have not produced, so far this year at all. They badly,
his tight ends.
They badly need Gronkowski. You know what I mean? What's your take on this, man? Do you think that the Bucs are going to be able to topple the Packers this year, or do you think the Packers, who literally are having a rough time, obviously with having no wide receivers like that, or you think the wide receivers going to end up coming out? How do you think it's going to fit? What do you think the outcome is going to be for the Bucs versus the Packers?
I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be Aaron Rodgers, and I think they're going to beat up on the Bucs because the Bucs almost got their behind severely with New Orleans with the Saints, and the only thing that got them off, that got them that win is that Tom Brady was more clutch than Jameis Winston. Once they got that interception and they went ahead, Jameis Winston went back to his old self and started pressing. And if he would have taken his time, they may have got that win. You know what I mean? They should have gotten that win because they were clearly, it was a defensive struggle. I don't think you're gonna be able to do that with Aaron Rodgers. So I got Green Bay in this game.
Okay, so you got Green Bay in that. Okay, that's interesting. Michael Sean, the Raiders and the Titans are playing. The Raiders are 0-2. The Titans are 0-2. Right now, it's fair to say that if either team becomes 0-3, they both going to have some serious problems about making the playoffs right now, and both teams are in trouble. If you have to pick the Raiders, who right now the Raiders are having issues with Derek Carr, the Titans, their quarterback Ryan Tannehill is not producing. If you had to pick a team who's going to win this week, and a team is going to be in trouble, what's your pick? What's your take?
I think I'm gonna take the Raiders are gonna win this game. I think they're both gonna be in trouble even after this game. But I think the Raiders are gonna win. I'm gonna tell you, I'm multitasking because it's so hard to do a show and curse somebody out in a text message at the same time. Like, do you know how hard that is?
Yes,
But,
I do. Yes, I do.
that is because I'm trying to get my adjectives right for you for the show, and I'm also trying to get my curses right for right here on my text message. I think they're both in trouble. I think I think the Titans head coach is on the verge of losing his job. I honestly think he's on the verge of losing his job right now because he's ridden out with Ryan Tannehill, and they were supposed to be the team that made a move for a quarterback. And I'm not saying Ryan Tannehill can't play. What?
But they were the number 1 seed going into the playoffs last year. Let's not forget that.
And that's great. But at a certain point, you got to look and be like, who is the person that makes a difference that wins that AFC championship? Who can make that happen? Who can play against Patrick Mahomes? The Buffalo Bills know they got somebody who can literally play against Patrick Mahomes on any Sunday. Josh Allen's like, I can play against him. Titans can't. I think the Raiders win the game, but I think they're both in trouble. And the Raiders get what they deserve for firing that coach. I'm telling you, they get what they deserve for having that coach sitting there. And through all that drama and all that craziness that went on last year, that coach got them and they were on a run. But you fired him because you wanted the Bill Belichick dude to come in there because everybody wants the Bill Belichick tree to come in and save the day.
Well, the Bill Belichick tree is doing pretty well because you had Brian Flores, you got Brian Daboll. I mean, you go down, there's a list of some Belichick disciples who are doing pretty well in the NFL. That's why people want him. Like,
okay, anybody been to a Super Bowl yet?
And what, in Bill Belichick's tree?
Yeah, his tree.
Yeah, a couple of them.
Who?
Give me time. I'll think about it.
All right, don't worry about it. I'm sorry. Don't worry about it.
Because Bill Belichick has so many people in his tree. I'm sure there's been a coach or two who's been to the Super Bowl. I'm sure there is.
Okay.
Hey, Frank sound like Malcolm X, from the root to the fruit.
All right, T. Thursday night football is tonight. You know what I mean? You got the Steelers. They're playing the Browns. It's a big game. It's a slugfest. I'm going to ask all three of you guys about this Monday night football game before we roll up out of here. And I want to see if we get to Aaron Judge real fast. Browns are playing the Steelers. If the Steelers don't win tonight, right, are the Steelers in trouble? And will the Steelers replace Mitch Trubisky with that with Kenny Pickett, the rookie who's on the bench, if they lose tonight? Because the fans are already calling for Kenny Pickett. The fans are already calling for him. Is it Kenny Pickett? Kenny Pickett.
Well, this is one of those. Where are they playing at?
I don't even know. I'm gonna check.
I'll tell you right now. Because this is one of those. It's in Cleveland. All right. So both teams are 1-1. This is one of those pick'ems. There's going to be a 3 to 6 point game difference, and I think home is going to play into factor. So because they're in Cleveland, I'm going to go and say Cleveland's going to squeak this out by a field goal.
Oh, okay. All right. You saying, but Fig, Jacoby Brissett is the QB. He's been playing pretty well, but he's been known to make some serious mistakes too, bro. You think Cleveland's gonna squeak this out, or do you think Pittsburgh's gonna squeak it out, and then whoever loses, are they in trouble?
Hey man, I first off, whoever loses is in trouble because you start your NFL season 0-3. That's not really good. And
Steelers won a game. Steelers won a game. They're not 0-3. Steelers won their first game. They're not 0-3.
That's true. But yeah, I think Cleveland is in trouble. And I like brisket. It's like one of my favorite sandwiches. You know, the brisket sandwich at the deli. I love brisket, but I don't like it as my quarterback. You see what I'm saying? I'll order it if I go, with gravy, mayonnaise, whatever it is. But I don't like brisket as my quarterback. You see what I'm saying? And I think the Steelers, if Trubisky doesn't do something tonight, I think they need to give Pritchard a chance because the truth be told, they were neck and neck in camp. It was like, I don't know which one should be a quarterback. And they lean towards the veteran. And you remember I said before the season started, I said round about game 3 or 4, if Trubisky doesn't do well, they'll probably give this kid a chance. And I think if he doesn't do well tonight, I think they'll still win. But I think they'll end up giving this kid Pritchard a shot.
Interesting take. Michael Sean, what's your take on this? Do you think the Browns are going to have a breakout game with Jacoby Brissett, and do you think the Steelers are in trouble? What you thought?
Hold up. Just give me a second. The brisket still coming.
That reminds me, everybody, you need to watch that Jeffrey Dahmer show on Netflix. It's awesome.
Oh my God. First of all, it would be if Tomlinson was on the chopping block as a head coach, right? I would say bring the young boy in, but he's not. Let him relax because their schedule is going to get tough. It's going to get tough after this.
Right.
Let him chill to the bye and give him time to be in the study room and watching video and give him time. Like I repeat myself over and over again. I'm sorry, I do. Patrick Mahomes set out the entire first season of his career, and it worked out. Alex Smith was a competent quarterback who did good things, and they went to the playoffs. Don't rush this kid into a situation because when you rush him in there, because the fans want him in here, they want a savior. They don't want a developing quarterback. They want a savior. They want somebody who's going to all of a sudden take us to the playoffs and do this and do that. Let him chill. Tomlinson, you're not winning the Super Bowl this year. You're not winning the Super Bowl. So let him relax. Let him get and see what it's like for a starting quarterback to be a starting quarterback.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Let him chill and let him do some open mics. How about that? Let him practice, do a bunch of open mics.
Open mics.
And
you
do
just
like,
made me think of something. Is Jimmy G the new Alex Smith?
Oh, you are so man. Let me tell you something. You are so right about that. But yeah, I think the Browns. No, I still think the Steelers are going to win because I think the Browns are in their organization so whack. But that is a great analogy, talent.
So you got the Steelers. You got the Steelers, Mike?
Yeah, I got the Steelers winning tonight.
How about you, T? You got the Steelers tonight?
Browns.
You got the Browns. Okay. How about you, Fig? Who you got?
Steelers. I got the Steelers tonight.
I don't know what the over-under is yet, so I don't know what the over-under is.
So tomorrow we'll do our picks. Tomorrow we'll do our picks, but I just want to ask you all one more other question right now.
Who you got, Frank?
Huh?
Who you got?
Who you think gonna win?
He got the Boston Celtics. That's who.
Yeah, I do got the Celtics. I got the Browns. I think the Steelers are going to lose their next 4 games. I got.
Wow.
Tomlinson is too good a coach to lose for it. But I get what you're saying, Frank. But I
know who they're playing.
I know.
Their lineup. They got a death row lineup for the next couple of games. Like they
that's
get
true.
Yeah,
that's
they got
facts on facts.
And my thing is this: if they stick with Mitch Trubisky, I think they're gonna be in trouble because he makes decisions way too late. I think they should go with the rookie right now. I mean, why not? You got nothing else to lose. And the rookie's played 60 college games. He's played 60 games. This boy is a beast, and he did pretty well in college. Not to say that college and the pros are the same because they're not, but he's played a lot of good games, and I think he could do something for him. So if I was Mike Tomlin, I'd be, what the hell? What you got to lose?
If I'm Mike Tomlin, I tell him just throw the damn ball and stop worrying about the guy behind you. Because the guy behind you is going. But what I'm saying, if I'm the coach, I'm like, he's gonna play.
Yeah.
But if you can throw the ball, like he was throwing passes like 5 yards short of the receiver, and I was like, he looked like Donovan McNabb.
Yeah, but the Steelers, they're in such a bad shape right now because you got T.J. Watt out. Their defense is still good, still a phenomenal defense. And you want your offense to carry you if you lose a component of your defense. And if you had an offensive-minded coach who thought like that and a great QB, yeah, you could do some damage. But I want to ask you guys before we go to tomorrow, everything else, I want to get Aaron Judge in there real fast. Buffalo versus Miami. Does anybody got Miami? Anybody gonna shock the world?
I got Miami.
Got Miami. Okay. Who you got, T?
Buffalo. It's no brainer.
And who you got, Big?
I got Buffalo because Buffalo has a formidable defense, and ain't no way in hell that Miami is going to be down 3 touchdowns and come back in the fourth quarter against a Buffalo defense. Not happening.
Well, they wouldn't even get that. Yeah, they might be down 5 touchdowns when they look up. You know what I mean? All right. But I want to give a quick shout out to Aaron Judge last night. He didn't get that home run that he's been trying to get tied and anything, but he's really trying to get the Triple Crown. So I'm gonna ask you guys before we roll up out of here. New York Yankees right now are looking at Aaron Judge trying to get the record. So T, before we roll up out of here, 1, do you think Aaron Judge is going to break the record? And 2, do you think he's going to be in a Yankees uniform next season?
Yes and yes. Definitely he'll break the record because you know how hitters are, man. Once you start hitting, you just hit. So all he needs is the one game where he's hitting, consistently, and joint's gonna go out the park. So I think he'll get the record, and I think definitely the Yankees are not stupid. If you check our history and our pedigree, the Yankees are way, way in another borough than the Knicks. The front office is not that stupid. So they're going to do what they got to do to keep Judge record.
All right. I want to say what I think after you guys. Fig, what's your take? Do you think Aaron Judge is going to break the record, and do you think Judge is going to be in Yankee uniform next season? Fig.
Fig is DJ Frozen.
Is he?
Oh yeah, he froze.
Yeah, he freeze.
That brisket.
That brisket joke. That
brisket, yeah, messed him up.
All right, what's your take, Mike Sean? Do you think that Aaron Judge is going to break the record, and do you think that he's going to be in the Yankee uniform next season?
He'll break the record. There's no salary cap, so the Yankees are going to keep him and pay him some outrageous amount of money, which you deserve. If you break the record, dog, there's nothing else I can say. If you hit 60-something home runs in Yankee in them pinstripes, if you hit him with the San Diego Padres, you deserve the money. But when you hit him with the pinstripes on, that's a whole. And I'm a Met fan. I understand what the pinstripes mean. That's a whole different level. When you do it with the pinstripes on, that's a whole different level. So yes and yes.
Yeah, I think he's gonna tie the record. I'm not too sure because it was like he started to get into a cold streak last night. He started I seen the last couple games, Judge is starting to get into a cold streak. So I'm a little concerned if he's gonna break the record. I know you're gonna tie the record. I just don't know if they got enough games for him to break the record.
Oh, they got enough.
They got enough games, and if George Steinbrenner was still alive, he'd be a billionaire because he would pay him $1 billion to keep him in New York City, right there in Yankee Stadium.
I'm gonna tell you why they're gonna keep him, Frank. You come to find out in the locker room. First of all, the cockiness of the Yankees to have pinstripes, the gall to dress up and dress down at the same time is amazing. But they're gonna keep him around because in the locker room they said he has a tattoo on his shoulder of Matsui. Remember Matsui?
Yeah. Godzilla. I remember Godzilla.
You know what's funny with Aaron with him is that he had the nerve to be in a press conference and say, "I don't even think about the numbers." Bitch, yes you do think about the numbers.
I know. Stop lying.
What are you talking
You're thinking about the numbers right now because you get ready to hold the Yankees hostage for the numbers.
Yes, for the numbers. Your agent thinks about the numbers. Your mom and dad think about the numbers. Your godson thinks about the numbers. You know exactly what these numbers are going down. You know what's going on.
I think he's gonna hold the Yankees hostage. I think there is a possibility though he could go to whoever
Can't nobody afford him except the Yankees and the Dodgers.
Yankees, Dodgers, Red Sox,
or maybe the Mets. Maybe the Mets could pull something together.
Yankees, Dodgers, Mets can also afford him.
He want to wear them pinstripes. Don't even think about it, guys.
Yeah, he dresses down and dresses up.
It's just gonna look better in the history books.
All right, T, tell everybody out there how they can follow you because we gotta roll up out of here.
Hey man, follow me on Instagram, Talent the Comedian with a DA. Talent the Comedian on Instagram. It's just comedy on Twitter, and on Facebook is NY King Talent. Follow your boy because shows galore are happening, and you don't want to miss none of this funny. It's going down.
Mike Sean, talk to me.
At Mike Sean Comedy. Just follow me. Saturday, I'm somewhere in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Then next week, I'm back in New York City, rocking out with Talent. So it's gonna be all good.
Yes, sir.
There it is. That's the show. We'll see y'all tomorrow. We gotta get you roll up out of here. Obviously, we come on a repeat at 7 and 11 p.m. The show is also gonna be on the Hearing Mill app. The show's called Box Seats. That's Talent. That's Mike Sean, Fig Bounce, Rodney Perry be back. We got to give shout outs to our boy, Dave, the business bully. Obviously, we wish him the best. Yes. Yeah. Prayers up to him and his family right now. And we'll tell you all a lot more what's going on tomorrow. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Peace.